morning. Hello. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor, episode 59. I'm having tea. Oops. Hey Sierra. Hey Jana. Can y'all hear me okay? I'm outdoors. Can somebody just give me like a thumbs up or something so that I know that your audio is all right? Hello. Good. Hi, Matt. Hi, Tori. Good morning, everyone. I have taken a little walk. This is one of my favorite trees in my neighborhood. See her? Yes. Oops. Her name, I asked her what her name was one day because I visit her often. And she told me her name was Sylvia. And I was like, oh. And then I looked the name Sylvia up to find out what it means. And the name Sylvia comes from the Latin silva, which means forest. Which I think is just good and funny. So this is Sylvia. She is, I believe, a bald cypress. And I think she's very grandmotherly. And this one over here, this one here, I like to imagine as her daughter. But I like to come over here a lot. I feel like she grounds me and helps me. So, I wanted to tell you a story. It's not a super spiritual story. Or maybe it is. Trees do have jokes. Start listening to trees. Start hugging trees and you'll kind of get in sync with them. She also has these lovely skirt branches. You can see how the branches come down. Well, that goes all around and it's almost like inside here. It's like a little hideout fort kind of thing. So I wanted to tell you just a little story. So, day before yesterday, I had to go to the post office. And I had been putting it off, obviously, because I didn't think that the post office would be a super, cautious place in terms of pandemic cautions. And I was right about that. But I had to go because occasionally I have to go to the post office for my work as an author. I have to mail books to people. And so I did that. Hey, Emily. And of course I wore a mask. And when I got into the post office, this lady who wasn't wearing a mask, which most of the people, there were some people, maybe about half and half, some people wearing masks and some people not. And this lady came in who was not wearing a mask. And she came right up behind me in the line, within a couple of feet of me, and I kept moving forward trying to get away from her because I'm trying to distance myself from other people and I'm wearing a mask, and I feel like that kind of makes it clear that I'm doing social distancing. And so she, multiple times I moved away from her and then she followed and kept this, 3-foot distance. And I said, after the third time I tried to move out of the way, I said, I'm practicing distancing, please. I think I said I'm distancing, or I'm practicing distancing, something like that. And she got kind of indignant and started making fun of me. Not in a cruel way, but just that's funny, kind of that way, kind of a snarky way. And in the moment, of course, I was already, my personality is sort of hit or miss on if I'm going to get into a confrontation. As an Enneagram 4, I'm not the most confrontational person. But in the moment, I didn't say anything to her and I didn't stick up for myself. and I didn't, I'm not sure why I didn't. But after the fact, after I got out of the post office, I was sort of mad at myself for not standing up for myself. And so I had to do some work to let the anger of it go. And, it's a minimal thing, but you still have to, work through your emotions about things. And so I did that. And then yesterday, I was going to take my kids to the dentist. And we have a dentist who we've been going to for a long time. And I had already rescheduled the appointment a couple of times due to the pandemic. And so I turned it off, and now I can't since my screen is already here. Okay, so I take my girls to the dentist. And we go in, and I had asked beforehand, are all possible precautions being taken? And I didn't ask specifically about masks because in my mind, with the amount of reading that I have done about mask wearing and how helpful it is, and I've read some articles and studies that suggest that if everyone would just wear a mask, or if 80% of people would wear masks, then we could shut this pandemic down pretty much. But people just won't do it because it's just anathema to us as Americans. So I go in the dentist's office. I'm masked. My kids are masked. And I look around the office and I see 4 human beings, none of whom have masks on, 3 of whom are staff members of the office. I look around. I'm like, what the what? And I say, girls, come on, we're going outside. And I'm like, what in the heck? I asked these people. I'm like, I didn't ask specifically about masks because to me that's just baseline. Baseline respiratory pandemic precautions are wearing a mask. It's really easy. It's low-hanging fruit. It feels like a mask is not expensive. You can make them out of anything. You can get a bandana. They cost $1 at Walmart. So I didn't specifically ask about masks. So I go out into the parking lot and I call Jordan and I say, here's the situation. Am I overreacting here? He's like, no. I wouldn't go in there. Don't bring the kids in there. So I'm like, okay, I didn't think I was overreacting, but I just wanted to check with someone I trust to make sure that me canceling this appointment because nobody in this office is wearing masks is reasonable. And obviously people don't think that's reasonable. Obviously those people. So then they call me and I explain that I'm not, that we're not going to keep our appointment. And I leave and I am furious. I'm so angry. I'm just I'm just furious. And it took me a long time to sort of detox through the anger of that because I really wanted my teeth cleaned and I really wanted my kids' teeth cleaned. And they are, didn't behave in good faith with me. They didn't disclose that no one was going to be wearing masks in this situation. And so then later, this is the funny part. Then later, maybe about half an hour later, I'm home by then and they call me and they're like, we're so sorry for the miscommunication. They're not sorry that everybody's not wearing masks. And I take the opportunity because I realized as I was driving home, that I was angry about the thing that happened to me the day before in the post office with the lady making fun of me about wearing a mask and wanting to distance. And then angry about this. And so I'm just mad. And it's sort of compounded, And so I take the opportunity to basically preach this woman who called a sermon about loving your neighbor. I said, I'm giving you this feedback out of kindness and love for you guys. I've been going to your office, for close to 10 years probably. You guys are the only dentist my kids have ever been to. We've never had, it's like a holistic dentist. we've never had a misalignment of values like this before. I feel like my values have always been aligned with you guys, and I'm telling you this out of kindness and love. I said, I have read a lot of articles and data that state that wearing masks significantly reduces the spread of this virus. And we are in Texas, and we are in one of the fastest growing caseloads in the country. It's making national news. Their masks are cheap. They are easy to keep in your car or your purse or your backpack or whatever and put on when you go into a public space. It's easy. And people, exactly, it's a dentist's office, and people have their mouths open in there. And a lot of times people come in who are fragile. And I said, I don't think it's caring for your customers in your community to not require everybody to wear masks. Because you don't know who, you don't know who I'm trying to protect in my sphere of people. You don't know what, fragile or immunocompromised people whose caretakers you might be coming into contact with at the dentist or at HEB or wherever. And so I believe, and I'm using this platform to say, that wearing masks is an act of kindness and love for your neighbor in this moment of time. In this moment, in our collective and cultural history, wearing masks is an act of love for your neighbor, and it's easy, and all you have to do is put the thing on and wear it. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't, you don't have to sacrifice your dignity. It's fine. You can wear a freaking mask. So masks are an act of love. And that's my sermon. Love your neighbor. Wear a damn mask. Okay. Yeah, social distancing is a consent issue, and people aren't respecting our bodies by refusing to do so. Yeah, so you are basically disrespect me by breathing your germs all over me. Yeah. Anyway, so that is my soapbox, and that's what I believe. Okay, B, this is the other thing that I wanted to talk about. Love your neighbor by wearing a damn mask. That's A. B is, yesterday I also wrote this poem. Okay? This is how the Spirit speaks to me. Yes, you get used to it. You really do. You just get used to it. It's fine. Okay, yesterday I wrote this poem. I'm going to read it to you. I believe it's entitled Palm Tree, but I'm not sure. This is a hurricane wind. Twisting gale, picking up skirts, sleeves, collars, sandbags, boards battered. I stand bent, head back, hair streaming, lashing my face, whipping forth toward horizon's chance. I scream, now, right now. Come on, you sniveling bastard of a future long delayed, born on the backs of 1,000 plum clouds, weighted yokes, roiling, poised to trample. I let it feed me, the spitted wind and the slats of rain. I let myself be bent. Okay, I wrote that yesterday. And I get up this morning and I try to read a little bit of poetry every day because I believe that poetry and liturgy writing feed into one another. So as part of my writing practice, I try to read input poetry every day, most every day. So I get up this morning and I'm reading for the first time this book, Words Like Thunder, New and Used Anishinaabe Prayers by Lois Beardsley. And this is what I read. Folded Over Woman. Okay, Folded Over Woman is sort of the main character in this book of poems and essays. Okay, I'll just read it. Folded over woman hovers, shelters the basket, shelters her fruit. She's harvesting strawberries. Shelters her own womb, crouching against the excess of a summer storm. It's going to keep doing that every 10 minutes. Hoping to find safety in the assured recurrence of the pain of imminent heat. Chilled, She waits for the devil she knows. Her hopes are like crows staring upward for sharp-beaked hawks to open springtime's carcass so that she can snatch sweet flesh and stuff tomorrow's into her threadbare pockets. She is an outsider in the world of plenty. Folded over woman releases her own fruits to the winds and gurgles in celebration of her own ability to find sustenance in mouthfuls of cloudfuls of wind-borne grit. She has experienced forced sterilization through socioeconomic inequality. Her long toes scratch out habitats for seedlings and trail wispy runners to horizons, pounding seeds into expectant soil. She never gives up. Folded over woman, who is an indigenous woman. This is an indigenous author. Folded over woman never gives up. And so this is how spirit speaks to me. Okay, I write a poem with the theme of being bent and the theme of like clouds and wind. And then I get up the next morning and I read a poem written by a different author who comes from a totally different culture and background from me. Yeah, these words are cutting me alive. That's what Matt says. And I read this poem about a woman whose name is Folded Over Woman, whose life has bent her but not broken her, and who never gives up, and who has faced a world of inequality and a world of scarcity and a world of loss and a lifetime of loss and grief. And her children have been stolen from her, and her fertility has been stolen from her, and she has experienced all of this, and yet her name is Folded Over Woman, and she never gives up because she is bent and not broken. Yes, may these words shake us alive. May these words and these images of beings, both of, of a palm tree who's bent in a hurricane, who doesn't fall because she bends and sways and doesn't break, and of this beautiful indigenous woman whose name is Folded Over Woman, who is so resilient. May we learn from these images and from these stories and from these people who have gone before us and are teaching us how to experience difficulty. And here we are in a global pandemic, and this is, for many of us, some of the first, real hardship that we've experienced. Particularly, people have lost family members, people have lost jobs and financial security, and are experiencing economic trouble and scarcity. And we are learning how to be bent, how to allow ourselves to be bent but not broken, and how to become resilient. And I don't have any advice about that. I only have these stories, these narratives like this one that I can learn from. And of course, plenty of biblical narratives, particularly of women who are bent but not broken. I think of Hagar, that we have an opportunity to lean in to allowing ourselves to be bent and to lose some of our rigidness and to assume a posture of beginner's mind and assume a posture of humility that says, I don't know everything here. Like, maybe if I'm a white person and I'm encountering all these conversations about race, perhaps for the first time in my life, because I've spent my whole life insulated from such conversations, perhaps I can learn to assume a posture of humility and a posture of listening and a posture of beginner's mind and learning that allows me to be bent in the wind and not broken. Wear a damn mask, guys. It's not hard. It's loving your neighbor. It's loving your neighbor whose story you don't know and whose fragile family members you don't know. And, you know, that person, you don't know that person's job, you don't know who that person's trying to take care of or come in contact with. So wear a mask. I'm going to post in the comments once I get home and back to my computer some of the research that I've read about how masks are for sure helpful. They are not 100%, but gosh, we don't have to have 100%. We can, 35% is great. That would be good. 35% less cases of COVID, 35% less deaths. It's not hard. All right. I love you guys. I'm really grateful for this community. I'm really grateful for Sylvia, my grandmother tree here, friend here. And I'm grateful for the space that we are able to hold for one another as we're in various ways in our lives, allowing ourselves to be bent.